Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesdays with Harvinder Narula. My guest today is Dr. Mansi Shirolikar, who started her practice as a dermatologist as a result of her love for skincare. Her passion for skincare led her to start creating awareness of unique skin types and how to practice sustainable and minimal skincare. We are in the midst of summers, so let's speak to Dr. Mansi Shirolikar on her advice and suggestions, recommendations of how to take care of our skin during the scorching heat of Indian summers. Welcome to BW Wellbeing World, Mansi. Uh, First thing I really want to know is that how does changing weather create a havoc in the human skin?
See, changing for us for Indians, changes in weather only refer to summer, monsoon, and winter, because we don't really have any of the others. And especially if you live in Central India or even North India, the change from winter to summer is quite extreme because you're going from single digit winter to like suddenly a 30 and late 30s to 40s, right? So your skin, of course, being exposed to the elements, that it does create, as you said, exactly a havoc in your skin. So what happens is your skin, which let's say right now we're transitioning into summer, or we have transitioned into summer, and so what happens to our skin is in winter it's used to really cold, dry air, especially with breeze, right? Whereas in summer, even if you're somewhere coastal, you have higher humidity levels. You still have dry air, but because of the huge change in climate, in temperatures that have happened, your skin will tend to get dehydrated. Okay, but it can still be oily. Whereas in winters, if your skin is dehydrated, it's usually on the drier end, right? So here you will have skin that's oily, but that's still dehydrated. And it creates a lot of confusion for us also because we don't know how to handle that as a layman. So that is one of the first things that occur. Then, of course, you have specific things during the summer like prickly heat rashes. Okay, people have heat boils. Eating food with high some sugar content like mangoes also doesn't really help in that, right? Again, if you are in a coastal area where there's high humidity, high sweating, okay, people are more prone to, again, the not great things like fungal infections. So
Mhm.
there are so many things that occur in summer and that are more specific to summer and to some extent to monsoons that you're not going to see in winters. And because of that, ideally, our skin care should also kind of match that. So whereas in summer, we would be more like, okay, we need to just focus on just like cold cream, cold cream, cold cream, or like just something to just fix our dry skin, soothe that. Whereas in summer we would be more towards like, okay, we have to ensure that there's no sweat residue left. We have to focus more on the cleansing aspect. Sure, yes, we still have to put like a lighter weight moisturizer than something very thick we would apply in winters, but you would still have to focus possibly more on cleansing because we want to ensure that there's no dirt or grime or sweat residue left. So similarly, ideally, our skincare routine should match our environment so that we are doing what's best for our skin at that time.
And Mansi, the what is also very interesting is, and I really wish to ask this question from you, because apart from being a dermatologist, you're also playing a role of sharing and advocating the concept of skincare, being an influencer online. What is the relation of personal grooming, especially when it comes to looks, with the confidence that people have? There
So,
are two. The reason I'm asking, there are two points of view. One is that, okay, it makes you feel confident. The other is, I don't care, I am who I am, I accept myself, because people are talking of self love today, etc. So what
yeah.
is your view on this?
So, I mean, like you said, it's all, firstly, I really do believe it's all in the mind, right? I mean, I'm sitting here in front of you with like everything on and like my hair proper. I might as well have just come, rolled out of bed and come here. But yes, it does, adding it, firstly, for me personally, it adds some, if you're going to work somewhere, it adds some professionalism to have that thing. But at the same time, like you said, these days, because there's a concept of self-love, which does translate into your looks a lot. I believe that yes, there is a relationship, and grooming does play a role in that. It does add a bit of confidence, but at the same time, it is all in the mind that, if you want to be that person who's like, okay, I don't care what I look like, I don't care what I'm wearing, nothing really matters, my work has to speak for it. That's also fair. Especially I feel like some nowadays, because we don't really have offices as such, everything is work from home. That has also influenced it a lot. But I do believe that yes, okay, if you are well groomed, if you are well dressed, all of that, it adds an air of confidence. It also makes the other person more interested in what you have to say. Whereas in the other scenario, they would be like, okay, I have to go through this person's work. They may sometimes be more critical of it as well. So grooming does play quite a big role, according to me. However, at the same time, I do recognize that these days there is a lot more self-love and this thing. But again, skincare and grooming is a part of self-love in my situation. It's a part of self-care, and it does help me just put a better version of myself out there.
So, Dr. Mansi, let's dive into the topic of today, which is basically skincare during summers. We are in the middle of summers, and in fact, just started. We yet to be in the middle of summers. The climate change has kind of changed the whole paradigm of summers. What should one be doing to protect themselves if they witness rashes? I mean, in summers, because you're perspiring, there are rashes, especially for those, when the perspiration and dust mix together during summer. So, what do you think people need to do to protect their skins during this time?
So, see, firstly, you have to. It's a bit difficult to identify rashes for people. Typically, what we see in summers, as you had mentioned, was heat rashes, which are prickly heat. These typically occur on the folds of the skin. So, folds of the skin would be your neck, your chest area, even your thighs. And here, what they occur as is your skin becomes red with small, small little bumps or prickles, which is by prickly heat. And why that occurs is because when you're sweating in summers, there is an abundance of sweat, right, as opposed to your preceding season. And because of that, your sweat glands go into overdrive, and many times that sweat gland could get blocked with sweat accumulating under your skin, which gives rise to those bumps. Right. In these situations, what people need to do is, first and foremost, most importantly, keep that area dry. Okay, so that involves using powders. You have dusting powders like Nycil, which are also fine. You also have medicated powders, but there's no real role of medicated powders in this, because here what we want to do is keep the area dry. But however, keep the area dry. Don't wear synthetic clothes as much as possible. Wear more breathable cotton, linen, etc. And shower twice a day with cold water as much as possible. And also another thing we mentioned is to use calamine lotion. So calamine lotion also contains zinc, which will soothe, and it will just help in, again, keeping the area dry. It will help in soothing the area, and it will also prevent that itch reflex from us. Because when we itch it, we have higher chances of causing a wound, which could then get a bacterial infection on top. So we recommend all of these. These are all products available. Your powder, your calamine, it's all available over the counter. You don't even need a prescription for it. And it's hard to go wrong with these products. And of course, your showering, your clothes, everything has to be taken care of. There are instances where people do scratch it a lot, land up with a secondary bacterial infection, or even after a week of using this, it doesn't subside. In which case, you can visit a dermatologist. We'd be able to give you with, we'd be able to help you with prescription products to help settle that faster and not worsen. So this is the most common rash that we see in summers. Specifically talking about rashes, but of course we also have people who come with fungal infections thinking it's a rash, because this also occurs on similar areas of the body. This would only need, like, if you have a fungal infection, you would need prescription products and prescription oral medication as well, because a lot of people go to the chemist and just say ki haan daad ho gaya, and they apply all this Ringard and all these horrible things and worsen it. So if you ideally you should visit a dermatologist. If you just have an isolated rash on your neck, it's more likely to be a prickly heat. So you can go ahead and use calamine lotion. But if it is spreading to other parts of your body, not getting subsided, then your rash could possibly be fungal, in which case you would need to visit a dermat.
Yeah. And Dr. Mansi, usually the UV rays that emits from the sun, it damages the skin. And sometimes the damage may or may not be visible to a layman.
Yeah.
They may not even know that their skin is getting damaged or is already damaged. What are the precautions that people need to do before they venture out outside during summers?
So, I mean, see, in a very ideal scenario, what you would do is you would check the UV index on your phone. Okay. UV index is basically a number which will tell you how likely you are to get sunburned when you go outside. Okay. In summers, the UV index is well above 8, which means stay indoors, which is of course not possible for everybody. So in an ideal world, you check your UV index, you'd stay at home, and you'd apply sunscreen even indoors. Okay, but of course that's not always possible. So what precautions people should do if they head out is ideally, of course, at least still check the UV index, keep it in mind, and also wear your sunscreen before you head out. You can additionally use other sun protective measures such as wearing a wide brimmed hat, which you can still wear in summers. Your sunglasses, ideally long sleeved clothes, even if they are made of breathable material. Okay, you also get UV protective clothing. You can, sorry, you also get UV protective clothing, so you can opt for those if you are somebody who's exposed to a lot of, especially midday sun times. And apart from that, if you can carry sunscreen reapplication products, or if you have access to a basin where you can wash your hands, wash your face, reapply sunscreen, ideal. Otherwise, you get sunscreen sticks, sunscreen sprays, which you just need to just apply on your face. It's a very easy method of application. So these are the precautions people should take. I understand that they're a bit over because these are ideal, but at least, at the very least, please wear sunscreen. Wear sweat-proof and waterproof sunscreen from my end, I would especially say. And ensure that your sunscreen is SPF 50 plus and broad spectrum. So broad spectrum means it will have UVA and UVB protection.
Dr. Mansi, during summers, we are told that you need to keep yourself hydrated. Now, apart from water, what kinds of nutritious foods and supplements should one consume in the summer to stay hydrated and radiant?
So, I mean, see, when anybody hears something like this, right, the first thought is watermelon and cucumber. I don't think anybody thinks beyond this, right? But there are so many. So something as simple as lettuce has 96% water, okay, which people won't know. So you have a lot of these again. So strawberries are also there, but I understand that in summers they're not really available as such. But all your regular, your cucumber, your watermelon, of course, your melons, even melons have a lot of it. Lettuce, like I said, tomatoes, they all just your regulars. If you just make fruit salad and a vegetable salad, I think you'll be more or less sorted. Apart from this, if you can also, other than fruits, just ensure that you hydrate yourself with drinks that have electrolytes. So something like a shikanji, a lemonade, right? Because that will also give you that will also give you salt and sugar. Okay, this in your body will help to draw in more water, right? Because we want to have that. It has like an osmolarity, and we wanted to bring in more water, right? So when you have excess salt or excess sugar, or even more, a little bit more, that salt to bring in osmolarity will bring in water into your body a little bit more, into your cells a bit more, right? So this is really important, because we don't just want to keep having water, right? We just end up excreting it. So having again your lemonades, your chas and everything will also go a long way, because it's also, a lot of people find it a little difficult to keep eating also in summers. So just to have these cooling drinks will also go a long way.
And Dr. Mansi, some of the lotions that are prescribed are sometimes very, very expensive. What types of natural cures are available for people if they do not wish to spend too much on the pricey lotions throughout the summer, because it's not like 1 day, 1 week kind of a thing? And also, are there some alternatives that can be found at home, products that can be used for taking care of your
skin? Yeah. So see, a lot of people earlier believed that carrot seed oil could be used as sunscreen, but it was later found out at an SPF of around 7 or less, okay, which is very, very less. So the thing is that the only thing I would say to not try to make at home or find natural alternatives for, or any other DIY alternative, alternatives for is sunscreen, because sunscreen genuinely undergoes a lot of testing. Okay, from your SPF and your PA testing to general lab stability and everything, and that is why it's under a lot of scrutiny as well. So sunscreen is the only thing I would say don't try to find alternatives for. Yes, there are, you can try to find cheaper and more budget friendly alternatives for something that suits your budget. But please don't try to make it at home. I've seen it, and I've seen people get sunburnt with it, and it has never been a good experience. For your cleansers, people use so many types of powders, from besan powder to moong dal powder to what all. So you can do all of this, and that is fine because it's harmless. It's not going to as such benefit you, but it's also harmless. You can absolutely go ahead and wash your face with just plain water also. It's fine. For moisturizer, of course, people with oily skin use aloe vera, people with dry skin use face oils, your coconut oils and whatever oils they have, sarson ka oil and all of that. That's all fine because again, it's all harmless. It's not going to enhance your skin in any way, but at the same time, it's not going to worsen. So it's fine. As long as you're just using this, and iske baad you're not going and applying some gel or serum or something. Don't do that, because if you're trying to use a salicylic or a retinol serum and your only method of cleansing is using besan ka powder, that's not going to be a good thing. You will need a regimen. So if you're somebody who genuinely cannot afford something, I would just say just buy a market sunscreen. We have so many options these days. I think that India's been experiencing quite a boom in skincare, which has brought in a lot of competitive pricing, which is amazing. So you just find something that fits your budget. You can, do your DIYs for your face wash and your moisturizer, provided you don't apply any other serum. If you are somebody who's applying a serum, first invest in getting a proper skincare routine with the cleanser, moisturizer, sunscreen, and then go ahead and get your serums and all of that. So my only advice would be don't DIY as much as possible, because how we're reluctant to throw away vegetables and this and that, and you put a mask of possibly expired vegetables on your face, that's going to cause a reaction. We have no control methods. We have no methods to check any bacterial growth in these products. And also these are one-time use. So if you're making a mask out of, let's say, honey and dahi and some third thing, when you make that, you have to use it today. You cannot keep it for tomorrow, because you've not put any preservative in that, any bactericidal product in there. You've not done anything. From my end, no DIYs ever. But if you must, whatever you use it single use only for your cleanser and moisturizer. Then you will not be applying any serums. Before applying serums, get a market-based cleanser and moisturizer, and never ever DIY your sunscreen.
And when it comes to summers and perspiration, also you perspire in your head, and you itch, you scratch, and then it becomes you end up having red rashes. How do you manage scalp during summers?
Yeah. So for scalp, see, firstly, you can wash your hair every day. I know that it can be challenging for women or anybody who has long hair to be able to wash their hair every day. But ideally, wash your hair every day. If that's not possible, use at least a clarifying shampoo once a week. Okay, so you have these shampoos that are sometimes clay-based. They say clarifying on their name, so there's no hiding or secrecy there. You have a lot of prescription clarifying shampoos. You have brands like L'Oreal also making them. So you can go ahead and get that. You have scalp exfoliants. So what these would do is they would just further cleanse your scalp. You apply them for about 10 minutes once a week. They contain salicylic acid. So they help break down any oil or grime or sweat buildup that has occurred on your scalp. Apply it once a week, wash it off with a shampoo. And the rest of the days, then you can at least wash your hair at least twice or thrice a week. So every 2 to 3 days, you must wash your hair. Because in summers, it does get really, really difficult. Again, if you're somebody who's been practicing what I said and wearing a hat, wearing a cap, again, further there is sweat buildup that occurs. If you're somebody who's working out, again, that happens. So every 2 to 3 days minimum, every day is also completely fine. Clarifying shampoo and scalp exfoliation once a week should be more than sufficient to take you through all summers. Okay, but if you do end up, and of course, avoid scratching your hair. If you do end up scratching your hair, you could land up with folliculitis, which is an infection of the hair follicle. In that case, you would need to visit a dermatologist because we would have to give you prescription antibiotic creams to apply. So avoid scratching as much as possible also. And if you're wearing caps, change them every day, air them out, wash them once a week. That should be sufficient.
And Dr. Mansi, rashes seem to be a symptom. What is the underlying condition under the skin that happens because of which the rashes actually appear? Is that a myth or is that a reality?
No, of course, rash is a symptom. Okay. In fact, just the rash is also like defined by us in so many ways, defined and described by us in so many ways. Whether it's reddish or not, whether it's pigmented or not, of course, where it's located, if it has any other bumps or blisters in it, all of that becomes really important to our diagnosis, right? And figuring out the cause. And generally, the cause can be so many, from infectious causes, infections being bacterial, fungal, viral, or parasitic, which is very rare, or your non-infectious causes, which can be allergic reactions or irritant reactions to something that you've used that's not worked well with you, or even irritant chemicals like Dettol, for example, is a very big thing contributing to irritant contact dermatitis in our practice. Okay. And two, again, non-infectious things like prickly heat, right? So there are many, like rash is such a huge symptom encompassing so many causes that it would take us days to sit and decode that. So, like I said, you have infectious, non-infectious causes. You have your infections like your bacterial, fungal, viral, parasitic, and your non-infections like prickly heat, your all of the irritant contact dermatitis and all of that that's causing it. But we need to elicit proper history from the patient and understand everything and examine before we can really arrive to the cause. So unfortunately, it's not so easy to explain the causes other than these subdivisions that I've given you.
And Dr. Mansi, you had mentioned that using UV SPF 50 lotions. Now, some people experience a lot of irritability after using these kind of lotions. What is why do they feel irritable, and what do they need to do about it?
Yeah. So what happens is, it depends on the formulation. Okay. So formulation of a product, for example, could have something like fragrance, which is not working well with somebody who has sensitive skin, who is sensitive to fragrance. Okay. In which they would, firstly, we need to identify what is exactly not working about that sunscreen. Did it go away again?
It did for a moment, but that's fine. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah, so we just need to identify what part of the sunscreen is not working with them. We need to identify if they have any other sensitivities in the past. So if you're somebody with fragrance, for example, I would not give you a sunscreen that is fragrant, or rather like just no fragrance whatsoever. Okay, if you are somebody with allergies to any particular, suppose you are aware, okay, I'm allergic to ABC, and if that is a UV filter, we'll have to ensure that UV filter is not in your sunscreen. Okay, or if you're somebody who is just as simple as sweating, we have to ensure that we give you a sweat-proof sunscreen. Okay, so the formulation of the sunscreen, the choice of sunscreen becomes really important in these situations. If you're somebody who can't just slap on any product around you. So coming back, so if you are somebody with sensitive skin, if you think that some products don't agree with you, you can opt for a physical sunscreen. These are sunscreens that contain zinc oxide and titanium dioxide as their filters, UV filters. They are more or less a bit more inert than chemical sunscreens. So we prefer them in patients of rosacea, of patients who have shown atopy or signs of sensitivity in the past. These are also very easily, very readily available in the market. They're available OTC. And in fact, even if you put mineral sunscreens on Google, you'll get like a huge list of Indian products that you can buy. So you can go ahead and get started with these because they are physical sunscreens. They are a bit more visible than their chemical counterparts. So, for example, in cricket, you may have seen your cricketers with these big patches of white. Those are thick pastes of zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Okay, so when you apply even a thinner paste of that, you could see a white cast on your skin, a slight whitish or grayish discoloration, which is the only real drawback of using a physical sunscreen. You also have tinted physical sunscreens now to overcome that. So you can go ahead and get one of those. And most of them are also sweat proof. So, they should be fine for anybody who has sensitivity or is facing any challenges using sunscreen.
And Dr. Mansi, what could be the most effective, quick remedy for a sunburn? And also, once you tell us that, please share with us what do people need to do to stop any long-term harm to the skin?
Yeah. See, so sunburn, we're very fortunate that we have this much melanin in our skin, even though people are not very appreciative of it all the time. Because this melanin actually protects us from sunburns. Okay, so when you have skin that is Caucasian, because of its lower melanin content, it is more prone to sunburns rather than sun tans. We tan more than we burn. So even though our suntan is a response to UV radiation, okay, we don't burn in the sense that our skin will become a few shades darker, but it will never become red, or very rarely it will become red. Okay, so when it's red is when it's called a sunburn. Okay, along with redness, we see blistering. We can even see the skin peeling off. Okay, so if you are somebody who has been exposed to sun for long, even if you have a lot of melanin, you can get a sunburn. Okay, and because we're not trained for it, because our skin type almost never gets sunburns, people don't know what to do when they get it. So what they need to do basically is, first and foremost, cool the skin. You can use cold compresses, you can just have cold showers. Okay, don't put ice directly, but you can just have to cool the skin. You can use soothing products again, like your aloe vera. So this is where your DIY comes in. You can happily put aloe vera on your skin because it will help to soothe and cool the skin. Okay, what's really important is that now you have to ensure that that area is well covered. Okay, and if there is a blister, don't try to pop it, don't try to peel it, don't try to do anything. That skin will peel over time. We have to ensure that the patient does not peel the skin on their own. That is really important because the skin will peel off as it's ready. We peel it off, then that skin is again more likely to get burned because that skin has not fully formed yet. So it's really, really important to not peel it off. Okay, apply all your soothing aloe vera lotions. Ensure that you apply sunscreen again, of course, and to prevent long-term harm. Now, see, that part of the skin has already been damaged. That part, but we have to ensure that the rest of the skin is fine. It's not that that damage is, going to cause. Perhaps it may not cause something, but we have to ensure that since this person, whoever it is more prone to sunburns, has to apply sunscreen before they leave their house, has to reapply sunscreen. And again, like I said earlier, seek shade wherever possible, wear UV protective clothing if possible, and your hats and sunglasses. All of that will help in preventing further sunburns and therefore giving you long-term benefit.
So, Dr. Mansi, I have a question related to uh, putting the lotions when you have a fungal infection between your toes, or when your skin is chipping off or peeling off on your foot, you know. So usually, and this happens, and this is could be very scary for people who have diabetes, etc. So I'm little confused that if you put the antifungal lotions, creams, etc., and then you wear your socks and then you're out for the day, is it okay to do that, or on the contrary, it has to be kept dry? So what is your opinion? What is the right thing to do? And is there a time to put these antifungal lotions or creams?
So specific to your, between the toes one. Okay. This is known as intertrigo. Usually it's caused by Candida. What we do for this is we give you creams to apply twice a day. And we also tell our patients, if possible, to wear open-toed footwear. Okay, and especially not chappals if your big toe is the one that is involved, because you cannot be putting something against it the entire day. So open-toed chappals, if possible, if your place of business allows it. We even write certificates for the same many times. If that is not possible for any reason, what we do is we tell that patient that, okay, before you step out, at least 2 hours before that, you will apply the cream so that enough of it has at least absorbed inside. Okay. Then in your socks on your feet, you will apply the powder so that it remains dry throughout the day. Here we will give you medicated powders as well. Okay, so that it remains dry throughout the day. We tell them you can reapply your powder as and when you see fit. Then when they come home, again, they will reapply their fungal cream, or if there's a different fungal cream given, they'll apply that, and then they can go to bed. So this is typically how we tackle it.
Can you summarize some tips that you wish for every man and a woman to know for managing their skin during summer months in India? And I also want you to keep in mind that the nation that we have, the country that we live in, is so vast that the climatic conditions in north could be very different from those people living in the south.
Yes, very, very well aware now of that. But yeah, so see, basically what I would say is, first and foremost, if you ever have a budget crunch, for some reason not able to get any product, the first product that you must purchase will be a sunscreen, please. And whatever sunscreen, we have a plethora of sunscreen on our shelves these days, and of course online. You can go ahead and pick one according to your skin type. If you have dry skin, go for a creamier formulation. If you have oily skin, go for a more gel-based, oil-free formulation. That'll really help you, and that'll make the patient also, that'll make you more prone to reapply and actually use the product, as opposed to it just sitting in your house. So the most important is choosing a sunscreen that you like, that you can actually look forward to wearing. Apart from that, your next product, your cleanser, moisturizer, should be in place. If you can have just a basic routine of washing your face, applying sunscreen in the morning, washing your face and applying moisturizer at night, I will be the happiest person. And you don't need more than this if your skin is fine. If you don't have acne, if you don't have pigmentation, you don't have any skin concerns, you can happily use this routine for the rest of your life. There is no need to buy into anything. There's no need to purchase anything at all apart from these three things. Once this is taken care of, sure, you can. I would just say that if you are somebody who is buying products left, right, and center, please be mindful of what you're consuming. Ensure that these products are working for you before you go ahead and purchase them just because they're new. And for summers, more specifically, just hydrate yourself. People do tend to overlook that. We have, like, for example, I consulted a nurse the other day, and she said that even though she's working in a medical field, she doesn't drink enough water because the hospital doesn't have clean washrooms. So, you have to ensure that you're drinking at least 3 liters of water every single day in the summers. Usually it would be 2, but because of sweating and everything, at least 3. Please ensure that you're having that. You can have all your summer coolers. You can have mangoes, of course, if you want. Have all these hydrating fruits, cucumbers, watermelons, lettuce, your melons, all of these. And just wear sunscreen when you go out. I think that would be my main thing. Where also you can use more lighter fabrics in summers as opposed to winters or any other times. Fabrics that will let the sweat evaporate and that will let your skin breathe. So your cotton and linen also will go a long way. If you have prickly heat, apply your calamine lotion. If it persists, or if you have any other skin condition, visit your dermatologist. There's a lot of available access now with online consultations, with everything. There's very easy access. So please do consider visiting a dermatologist if you have symptoms or conditions that are persisting beyond a week.
And Dr. Mansi, before I let you go, I have one question. Working women, I mean, they sometimes when they have kids, they get up in the morning, they have to make their breakfast, their tiffin, and to send them off to school, and then they have to rush to work. So they are, stressed with time. Can you give us a very quick regimen for these women to take care of their skin on daily basis?
So if you are somebody who is short on time, the only thing you need to do, see, you're going to have a shower. In that, a lot of times you have these things that double up as face and body wash. Now, ideally, I would say no to these, but you have to just ensure that this has a pH of 5.5 because that's our skin's pH. When you apply a soap which has a basic pH, that could alter your skin's pH, giving rise to infections and all of that because your skin barrier is compromised. So you have these Syndex soaps which are 5.5 pH. Even Sebamed makes one, very easily available. These can be used to wash your face and body. Okay. So in the shower, you can just do that and you'll be done. Okay. Or alternatively, keep your face wash in the shower so that when you're having a bath, you just put on face wash and you're done. Okay. And when you step out, before you step out of the house, just apply sunscreen. That is it. I think it will take you less than a minute to do both these things. And that will, and something as small as sunscreen will genuinely make such a difference over time. You may not see it now, but 30 years from now, your skin will thank you.
Dr. Mansi, it has been such a pleasure speaking to you. This conversation is the need of the hour because a lot of people try and do DIY at home, and they actually start doing more harm than good to themselves. And so your tips and your recommendations will come in really handy for anyone who's going to be watching this show. Thank you so much for taking our time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Narula. Thank you. It was really a pleasure talking to you.